Thank you. So yeah, basically what I wanted to talk about tonight was just like recruiting is such a crazy process. So just a huge, like a big list of things to keep in mind when you guys are going through that process. And I think that this list is also very applicable to coaches who have athletes going through the same process and they might not know what they're doing or anything like that. So I remember I made this list back in grade 9. So it was crazy. My recruiting started in grade 9. I had no idea what I was looking for, anything like that. They're asking me all sorts of questions and I was clueless. I had no idea what I wanted to do. So I had to sit down and make this list. And basically what I did was I wrote down everything that I wanted from a school, and then all the places that I visited or was considering, I compared them to this list. And I said, okay, which one of these places fits the best for what I wanted? So what I wanted to do was, and then it was interesting, I ended up, my 3 last schools were 3 very different schools and had a lot of different characteristics that all fit different areas. And I ended up at Queen's because it fit most of the things. So these are some things I wanted to put in your guys' heads. And if you have any questions about them at all, you can stop me anytime. So the first thing that I wanted to talk about was distance. So I figured out that I was okay being away from home throughout, because I played Team Ontario for 3 years and we spent a lot of time away at training camps, at tournaments and all that stuff. And I realized that I was okay with that. I liked being away, was fine with the travel. So that's something that, and even for you guys, like, do you like going away for summer camp? Like, are you comfortable being away from your family? Like, those things can help you realize if you're okay flying across the country, maybe going to the States, like for your university experience. Another thing I put on my list was the type of city. Do you like being in a big city? Do you like being in a small city? I realized on one of my visits, I went to a pretty big city in Toronto, and I realized I didn't like that at all. That was not what I wanted to do. It was scary for me. So that's how I knew I wanted something like Kingston that was smaller, more homey feel, stuff like that. So that's something I added to my list. Like the type of commute, like the university experience that you want. I wanted something that I would just be able to walk around. Stuff was very close. But some universities you have to bus to your classes, which at grade 9, I had no idea that was a thing. I was right across from the school. I never knew that happened. So that's something I had to keep in mind, is do I want to be busing 20, 30 minutes to my classes every day? So when you're on these recruiting visits, like, these are the questions you start thinking to yourself. If you don't see them on your visit, you can ask the coach, stuff like that. That leads to my next point is I visited my top 5. Just while making this list, it's easy to kind of cut out the schools that aren't going to fit your wants, just because if you're making a big list like that, you'll see right away what fits and what doesn't fit. But I knew for me that I had to go visit my top 5 schools just to really get that atmosphere, get that feel, and then see things I did or didn't like. Some things we don't talk about enough as athletes is the academics. What program are you looking to go into? Does that school even have that program, or are you settling? I know I deal with a lot of football guys who want to come to Queen's, but they want to be police officers, and we don't have anything like that here. It's like, that's not going to help you with your career path. So you don't want to settle for a place just because they have a good basketball team. You want to be able to get the education that you want. This leads into academic support. Is there people to help you? Is there tutoring for athletes? You have a study room, stuff like that, that's going to help you be a successful student while you're there. We talked about athletic culture. Are teams supporting teams? Do you see the football team out at their games? Is there that kind of family that I know I wanted? Is there that family support, or is it kind of like infighting between teams, stuff like that? I know this is a lot of stuff, but it's just things that you can pick a couple that might be important to you. Social life, because I know the big thing I dealt with in my first and second year was it was just basketball in school, and I was going crazy with that mentality. So I had to go and join other things. Like, is there a club that you're interested in? Things like that. Having that real, true university experience, is that at the place that you want. financial aid. There are scholarships for athletes, and that's something that can be discussed between you and the coach. But are they willing to give you that money? Are there other things that you would be able to apply for and get? Those are all things that I'm sure your parents are going to want to know. So just keeping that in mind. And then kind of what Brooklyn was talking about, do they have things like physio and mental health counselors and stuff like that? That just really shows that the school cares about you as an athlete and as a human being rather than just a basketball player. They care about taking care of you. And then the biggest question that gets told to everyone is, would you be happy at this university if basketball wasn't in the picture? If you got injured, if you got cut for some reason or anything like that during Corona, if you have to be at the school and there's no athletics going on, like, would you be happy in the place that you're at? So those were kind of all the university side things that I think as athletes we don't look at enough, because you're always so focused on the basketball. So keeping those things in mind. And I can also, coaches or players can send you off this list if you have athletes who are looking for some sort of pros and cons list, trying to figure out things, because I knew I didn't really have anything like this at the time. So it was super helpful. And then now just to flip over to the basketball side, because yes, it is important. We are athletes. So in the recruiting process, what I tried to do is I went to their practices. And what I really watched is I watched their coaching style. Did it fit with the type of game that I like to play? Is it more of a run and gun offense, or do you like more of offensive sets, those type of coaches? So keeping that in mind and aligning it with your game. How do the teammates interact with you being there? How do they interact with each other? Because I really think that's a direct reflection of the culture that the team has. Are they welcoming to you, or is it kind of like every man for himself? Like, are they accepting of you? That always stems from the team culture. As well as going to practices, try to watch games. If you can go to a game in person, that's great. If not, try and watch them online. Watch how they coach, see if you are they a yeller? Do you not like that? Are you comfortable just seeing how their style is? Watch the relationship when they go and talk to the parents and stuff like that. Just again, it all encompasses that team culture and what your experience would be like. And also try and watch how they're doing when they're losing. Are they getting down on each other? Are they kind of going internal, or are they sticking together as a team to push through whatever they're going through? I think that makes a big difference. One reason I say this is I was actually watching a team. You guys might know who they were. They were playing a team that wasn't very good, but they were losing. And the coach was so angry that he didn't come out of the team room at halftime. And that just really shows that he quit on his players. And that's not the coach that I wanted to have. So that was a real tell for me. I was like, oh, red flag. So watching games, you can really get a lot of coaching style, team culture, stuff like that. Another conversation to have with the coach is, where do they see you on in that team, or who's on the team right now? Or do they see you as redshirting maybe your first year? Do they see you playing right away? Stuff like that. In my situation, in my first year, there was a girl 5th year who our games were very much alike. So I got to play under her in my first year, learn from her a lot and what she was doing. And then when she graduated, I got to take over that role in my second year. And I really liked that, as it was the best of both worlds. Yes, I kind of took the sacrifice in my first year, but I learned a lot, and that led me to have more opportunities in my second and third year. Another thing being the academic school that we are, how do coaches deal with academic conflicts? Because I know for us, school is first. Yes, we try and not schedule classes during practices, but if you have a class, you got to go. But I know some coaches will expect you there. So if that's not something you're comfortable with, then you can keep that in mind. Yeah, that was my list. I know that was a lot to digest, but once I made that list and realized what fit with what I wanted, that's how I came to my realization. Just for a timeline, I did most of my recruiting trips in grade 11, and then I committed grade 12 of my December of grade 12. And yeah, if anyone has any questions about that, I know that was a lot, but there are, yeah, just things to think about that when you're going through this crazy experience helps you out a little bit.